Bonjour, everybody. Hi, good morning. Good morning. I'm Neshi and welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page. I do the live stream for the morning card draw from the main fan page almost every morning. I would say at least 99% of the time. Occasionally, I'll take a Sunday off or something like that. But every morning, 10 a.m., 11 Eastern, we do this energy read from the the energy for the day. And I invite people to join me so we can have a spiritual conversation about what Spirit is showing us for today. So welcome. Today is Monday, June 18th, and it has been a watery, rainy weekend. That is for sure. I don't know if many of you have seen some of the videos coming out of the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, and also some of the northern towns here in Wisconsin. Lots and lots of rain. There's a couple of places that have gotten like 12 inches of rain, and more is coming today. And so, good morning, Stephanie. I'm so glad you're with us this morning. Good to see you in the chat room. So, as we keep those folks in mind and in our prayers to weather the storm, literally, and the flooding, can't be easy. So, sending our prayers to them and keeping them in our hearts. And I'm sure that those, and especially the EMTs and the rescue units and that sort of thing, they have families too, and many times they have to leave their families to go help. And so we'll keep them in our hearts as well. Well, Judy says, good morning, Judy, says floods in Houghton County. I know, I saw some of those pictures there. It's like, wow. How much water it's like a torrential river with rapids and everything flowing through a lot of those streets. Good morning, Polly Joe. We were just texting, Polly Joe and I were. And Judy, thank you, Judy. She says, love the haircut. I had to do something, right? It had been, the last time I had gotten my haircut was like March or April, something like that. And I wanted, because I'm growing out the gray, I wanted to do the edgy thing, and it was cut pretty short the last time, so that's why I could get away with it for so many months. And so my hairstylist, who I've been with for over 10 years, left the Aveda salon that I go to, and I've been with Aveda since 1998, and I love the products and their mission, and how they train their people and how they treat their staff. And so I stayed with the Aveda salon. And so I started with a new stylist, and she was telling me her mom's 63, I'm 58. She could be my kid. So anyway, we spent some time getting to know each other, and she's got some mad scissor skills. She does. I do like it. I love it. It feels really good too. Amy Daniels is in the house. Good morning, Amy. I'm so glad you're with us this morning. Yeah, I was reading some of your posts. You sound like you've been really, really busy cooking up those omelets and French toast for those folks. And I think you're at the Monona Terrace, right? I think that's where you're working out of now for the summer anyway. And Mary says, hello, and I have Mondays off for the summer, working 4 10-hour days, so I can listen live. Yay! And Mary Ann's with us too. Good morning, Mary Ann. I'm so glad you're with us. It's kind of fun knowing that Mary Ann's out there listening to the shows. I love it. Let's see, what do we need to do this morning? My husband, who happens to also be my AV guy, he went and did something this weekend that did you ever do the spouse eye roll? You guys that are married or have been married, you know what I'm talking about. The spouse eye roll. He's been kind of keeping tabs of all my videos. He's kind of like the quality check guy, And he went out and bought a smart TV. Now, like, we need another TV, but he bought it for up here. We have a cabinet that it's going to go into, so I can close it off when we're not using it. But yeah, we can actually watch YouTube's and live videos from that TV. So I was practicing yesterday, and I was watching Polly Joe's, some of her videos, and on a 30, I think it's a 36 screen, and a Memorial Union terrace. I knew there was a terrace in there. Thank you, Amy, and thanks for the compliment on the hair. So anyway, he bought this TV, and that's how I kind of I thought, oh my goodness. We need to do some stuff for lighting for our folks, for our live stream hosts. And so it was, yeah, he loves those toys. And I have to admit, it's going to be helpful when we start teaching other kinds of classes here. And we're using music and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's good stuff. Although I had to do the Wi-Fi roll. God, another toy. It's not like we don't have bread machines on cupboards and, and that kind of stuff too, you know? Okay, so today's card draw. It was kind of fun doing this one this morning because I was sitting in our Four Season porch, getting prepared to do the card drawing, connecting to my team and my spiritual team. And we've been having a lot of rain here too. And so it was kind of a light rain on the roof, and a little darker usually than in the morning. And so it was very cool to do the card shuffling and connecting to spirit out there this morning. And this is the card that came up. Now, we've had this card before, Vision Quest. We had this card like really early in the month of May. I don't know if you guys remember that, but look at the artwork on this card. It is, wow. That vision quest, crying for a vision, for a dream. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Good morning, Jessica. Good to see you in the chat room. How many people who are in the chat have been on a real vision quest, where you're going, somebody, a medicine person, puts you up on the hill and does that? Holding space for you kind of thing, and then there for you when you come back to help interpret your experience and prepare you for the next step. Hi, Stephanie. Good morning to you. I'm so glad you're in the chat room. Stephanie, thank you so much for all those Instagram posts that you do. I follow you on Instagram, and you have some pretty good posts out there. I enjoy seeing them. So the Vision Quest, the way Jamie Sams writes about the Vision Quest, she comes at it from the Oshechi Sakoi, the Great Sioux Nation's perspective, but also from her roots, the Seneca. And I have to tell you that when you're working with a native elder who is your medicine person, right? Every nation does something a little different. They might call it the same thing, but it looks and feels different sometimes. And so when you're talking about a vision quest going from tribal nations east of the Mississippi, it's a little bit different than those that hold those kind of vision quests west of the Mississippi. And the basic tenet is the same. The basic reason to go on a vision quest is the same. But it many times the way that it's the process can be different. And so when somebody says they're going to be put up on a hill, here in some places like near New York, you guys have really the Adirondacks, and you have mountains. Right here in the Midwest, we don't have mountains. We have huge bluffs, but we don't have mountains. And so a lot of times the geography also plays into that. And in modern times, this is how my family has done we don't even call it a vision quest, really. it is the time that you take the 4 days to refrain from food. You can have some water, but you really are supposed to be quiet and introspective. Um, my grandpa used to say that we could you gotta especially when you're providing for a family, you can't just take 4 days off sometimes, to go and do this. And so he said that as long as you're not socializing, you can go to work. When you come home, you're basically home, and you spend as much time as you can outdoors, um, that sort of thing. And so you have the same outcome. You have the same outcome. Um, in my family, usually, because I come from a hunting family, it's not done for sport. It When I was a kid, it was not done for sport. It was actually done to put food on the table and to survive, right? And so when the first time that you harvested a deer for the family, you went through the 4 days, and you weren't allowed to eat that from that first couple of meals, which helped because you weren't eating anyway. And so anyway, they my brothers, they all did that. I did mine. It was right after I got my first period. Not that first year. I think it was the second year. And honestly, I don't even really remember much of it. I mean, I was like 13, and I remember being hungry. And I remember the animal that came to me that time. Um, but the one I remember the most is the one that I did about 3 years ago. Um, and my mom was here, so she was the one who helped me through it. And so yeah, it was. I can tell you that the on the third day, you're thinking, and you haven't gotten a vision yet. You haven't gotten, your power animal or the animal your ally hasn't come to you yet. You haven't gotten any information. You're thinking, I'm doing everything I can, and it's not until you surrender. It's not until you let go, and I'm talking about your mental mind, is when you let go. And that I remember that fourth morning, I was really tired, and I would get up every morning and take care of mom and do my daily stuff for her. And then when that was done, I would go into the meditation room and be by myself. And I would take some walks and that kind of thing. But that fourth morning, it was hard. Emotionally, it was hard, 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 hard. Cry. And Paul came upstairs. He goes, "You okay? What are you crying for?" And I said, "I don't know." And I was just sobbing. I said, "I'll be all right. I'll be all right." And he got me half a glass of water, and he goes, "Did you check your glucose this morning?" Because that's the other thing, is that when you're diabetic and doing a vision quest, you have to be prepared. You have to take care of that. And I did, and everything was fine. And I said, "I think I'm gonna try and take a nap." And he took care of mom's, mid-morning snack and getting lunch prepared. But I was going to take a nap, and I remember I had finished crying, and I said, "Okay, this is the fourth day. If I'm supposed to have a vision, or if somebody is supposed to come to me, okay. If not, that's all right too. All I can do is do my best." And I surrendered. I let go, and um, I can't even tell you how long it took. Because I was sleeping, and I remember first smelling the horse, and then I could feel him breathing on me, and then I could feel him whinny, that sound, and then we had a conversation, and that was the first time as an adult that I did the vision quest. And um, when was it that afternoon? I got up and I gave tobacco, and um, that late afternoon I broke my fast. And by doing that, I just had a little bit of broth and more water. And I sat down and sat with mom for, I don't know, probably a good over an hour, and told her what happened and talked about it. And she helped me understand. She says, you know, when you were little, when you were very, very little, you were afraid of horses. I didn't know that. And she says, oh, yeah, you were afraid of horses. And they had horses at the time, and your dad tried to put you on a horse, and all you did was cry and scream. And she said, so it's interesting that horse would come to you now, And it's all about freedom, right? It's all about freedom. And the ally is supposed to help you with the rest of your walk here on Earth, and helping you through that. So the Vision Quest is really about seeing clearly, understanding that we're not in this alone, that the Creator is always with us. Our spiritual team is always with us, and we always get extra help. We get more help when we're ready for it, to get us through that next phase or whatever that's going to be. Yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Amy is saying yes, absolutely amazing experience. I had asked the question if anybody else had done a Vision Quest, and let me see, I got to scroll up a little bit. Um, Judy says no, but would love to. Amy says yes, she did. It's an amazing experience. Amy, when did you, if you don't mind sharing, how old were you when you did your Vision Quest, and where did you do it at? I'm just curious. And hi, good morning, Elise. She says, hi, Neshi, finally here, having problems getting on, says my app is needing upgrading. Never had this before. Oh, yeah. I had the same thing this morning. I don't know if you have a Mac, but there's updating to some of the apps that need to be done, and I just told it I'll do it tomorrow. And Polly Jo is saying she has to, but not in the traditional sense. Exactly. But what's traditional? You know, unless you are invited and have been studying with an Indigenous elder, chances are your Vision Quest is going to be not in a traditional sense, right? One of my teachers a long time ago, Denise Lynn, she used to lead Vision Quests up in the Northwest, and I don't think she's done those for years and years. But I would say that would not be in a traditional sense either, even though she's part Cherokee. I don't think she followed the Cherokee way of doing it. I think she was doing it more like a Lakota way. Amy's saying, I think I was 29, 19 years ago, deep in the heart of Texas. Well, good for you. Good for you. And, Amy, that is when to do the 29. For me, the 29 year is you're leaving, you're almost leaving your 20s, and you're heading into your 30s. And, life takes on different meaning, I think, in your 30s. You're no longer that young adult that is testing things out and that kind of thing, that experimental age of the 20s. Not that I minded my 20s. They were kind of fun. I was also married, though. I got married when I was 19. So Paul and I literally grew up together. And yeah, 20s were fun. All right, so here's Jamie Sams. For those who came in a little bit late, this is the card that was drawn, Vision Quest. The meaning is seeking and finding. And so, when we do these card draws, what I think about is Jamie Sams does, I think, a really good job in helping us to understand how our ancestors may have experienced, the words on these cards and the things that happen, such as a vision quest. But I think about, okay, so how do we do this, the essence of this card? How do we do this in modern day, today? How do we do this? And why get this particular card today? As energy that, because what I ask for when I do the card draw is, please show me the energy of today that's most important for us to know for the highest good. And so what is this about for today, the vision quest, seeking and finding? Jamie says that it's a full understanding of your place or pathway in the world. And the ally that comes to you during a vision quest is to help guide the seeker's earth walk and will protect the person's sacred path. So what is it about today? Sometimes, when I was sitting there thinking about this, I'm thinking maybe it has to do with the letting go part, because the process itself, the no food or water, drink, is difficult. It's not easy. It's not too bad the first 2 days. It's the third day. It's the third day that is kind of a challenge. But I think it's the letting go. It's the letting go, because we're taught to be as in control as possible, as much as possible. It's kind of like the two-legged mind, needing to be in charge. And I think it's in the letting go that we learn so much more and we accept so much more. And maybe that's what this is about today, is noticing when we let go, what happens. When we allow ourselves to just be, what happens. And how many of us really have done that? We talk about it, don't we? We talk about it. We reference it quite a bit, to just be. But how many people really do that? And especially into today, in particular, the present time, the present moment. What are you willing to let go of and to allow yourself to just be? And sometimes it is really about the energy that's flowing to you for the day, through you, around you, I always say, into you. And how the energy of the card, the essence of the card, how does that unfold for you for the day? Is it that you're witnessing somebody's experience of letting go? Maybe being a support for them? Maybe it's because, looking at who's in the chat room, all light workers, all energy workers. Are you that someone who helps them to understand with a little bit more clarity by being the person they tell their story to? And that they can actually reach a point of clarity, just in the questions that you ask, or the just by listening, right? Or are you the active participant? Are you the one that's actually doing the letting go? Coffee. Yum. The act of letting go. Because it's not easy to let go. It's not easy. We think that there's there's not just some, there is fear involved in it. There is. What happens if you let go, especially when you're the center, when you're the one that is taking care of people in your home? You're the one who may be the person who earns the most money. And so you're providing for your family. And so there's some fear around it. If I let go, what happens? What happens to all the plates I've got spinning if I let go? Now, Amy is saying, I love, okay. You must be using your phone. Something I love the idea maybe of still being able to go to work, then spend the rest of the time by myself in nature. Very difficult to get 2 to 4 days off now. And it's hard to focus outside world demands. We've in control of everything. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think that's one of the reasons why my Misha, my grandfather, figured out a way that we could do this in modern time, right? Um, the thing is that you need support. You need to be able to connect with that person, preferably an elder, somebody who has some life experience, somebody who has actually been through the fasting and the vision. Um, because there's and then afterwards, integrating it and how to take care of yourself afterwards, what you have to do afterwards. In my family, it's the giving of tobacco and being mindful of your dreams, what's happening in your dreams, because my Misha was part of the Dream Drum religion, and so that religion held a lot of store in dreams. And it's to watch your dreams for the next month or so, is how things unfold. And to also to try to live a good life, be in your heart as much as you possibly can. In other traditions, you'd be in a sweat lodge afterwards. You might be having songs sung to you. Different traditions have different ways of doing that, right? Yeah. But Amy, if you decide to do this, is just to make sure you have your support people in place, people that you can rely on to be there, to talk to, and to take care of your physical body. Making sure that, because if I remember right, you're diabetic too, is to make sure you're testing. Maybe not just once a day, but different times through the day, just to make sure your body is okay, and making sure that whoever is your support knows that you're doing this, and in case they get the telephone call, I need help, that they're available to be able to come and help you. Because I had Mom here to help me with the interpretation, but I also had Paul here, checking in to make sure that physically I was doing okay. The emotional thing, I kind of think I scared him a little bit. All that crying. Because they sometimes they just don't know what to do when you're crying, trying to fix it, and there's nothing to fix. Jamie talks about, she says this really cool thing in here. Let me read it to you. She says, to seek the signs and omens that allow humans to make proper decisions, then act upon those signs, is a part of the quest for life. On this physical journey, the good red road affords the seeker hundreds of lessons that lead to inner knowing. The goal is to reach that place of inner serenity so that the inner world is equal to the outer world. When the two worlds are one, we become the living dream. I like that. Become the living dream. So she's saying that because you draw this card, maybe it's a time of new directions or strengthening of the present path based on your personal truth. So to be conscious of that. Maybe it's time for a new direction. Do you remember, not yesterday, because, we didn't do this yesterday. I think it was Saturday. We were talking about those subtle signs that our spiritual team gives us. And sometimes they're so subtle. I think it was Jill Conrad was saying, maybe when they're subtle, we don't pay attention to them. They're not as, we don't see the importance to it. And yet when we pay attention to the subtle signs, our life seems to be a little bit easier. Some people would even say it's a blessed life. because we tend to be in the right place at the right time. Well, come to think of it, we always are, aren't we? Right place, right time. And so those subtle signs, when we our awareness is there, that we are aware of our environment, our surroundings, and how energy is flowing. And when we get those synchronicities, those signs, that we pay attention to them, like the triple numbers for me, the triple numbers, or when I was doing some work for a client the other day. I was doing some long distance clearing, and I think it was Friday night. I was getting ready to go upstairs to the medicine room, and I took a look. I was walking, going to go upstairs, and I stopped, and I went back to the Four Seasons. I saw the windows open, and I looked around. I looked outside. That seemed fine, and so I didn't close the windows. I went upstairs, did my thing. I was coming back from the journey, and I could hear and feel the rumbling. Thunder beans were moving in. Yep. If I would have noticed the subtle signs when I went into, because something told me to go into the Four Seasons. I'm looking around. What is it? It's fine. If I would have paid more attention, I would have closed the windows, and I wouldn't had to have tried to soak up the water from the carpet afterwards. So it's things like that that if we notice the subtle signs. And these are the other two cards that popped out. And we've talked about these, the East Shield and the Cradle Board. The East Shield is about the ability to respond, right? Oh, that's the Cradle Board, is the ability to respond. And really that's about that our basic needs are being met, that we're not spending a lot of our energy in fulfilling the basic needs, the food, the water, the shelter. The Cradle Board is the protector of the child. And so the child can feel safe, secure. And when you're safe and secure, you're able to hear and listen to your guidance, right? Your spiritual guidance. And so that's what it means to respond. So you're in a place that you can take in the information, because you're not spending a lot of your energy trying to be safe. The East Shield is about illumination and clarity, and exactly what the Vision Quest is looking for. That's why you're crying for a vision, is so that you can have clarity about your path. So I think that with these three cards for today is all about the clarity. It's all about being able to take in the information that Spirit is bringing to us, and being and not just, okay, I'm going to say something that's probably it's probably kind of not accepted all the way across the board. Okay, so I do believe in prayer. I do. I believe that prayer, when it's heartfelt and honest, that you can move mountains with prayers. Prayers can change so many things. And that's where I think some people call it miracles, right? But sometimes prayer is not enough. Sometimes we have to follow it up with action to be able to stand in our truth and follow it with action. And it could be something very simple, very, very simple. The action could be, if you're praying for peace in a world that's gone crazy, If you're praying for peace, then doesn't it start with you, right? John Lennon said that. And so what can you do in the moment to have peace in your life? You know, sometimes it's just being mindful of your thoughts. That's action. It can be as subtle and as simple as that, to everything to, I don't know, making the decision that you want to go and participate in a March for Peace, or to head down to Texas and and be on the front lines to take care of those kids, those children. So your action may depend on your guidance from your spiritual team and from your soul, because it's your soul who is that part of you. I don't want to talk about it, make it sound like our soul is separate from us. It's that part of us that is having this experience here in the physical world. Our soul already knows the path that we're supposed to be on. It's when we let go in the mental mind, letting it go, and being in balance between the head and the heart, right? And maybe that's where the vision quest comes in. Because when we let go, when our mental mind lets go, our soul can lead. And we can start living from our heart. Yeah. I don't know. A little philosophical this morning. But anyway, that is our card for today. So, like what I say most of the time when I remember is what we shared today. Take what resonates with you, what feels good to you, and let the rest of it go. Wasn't meant for you. Maybe we're just planting seeds somehow, and maybe sometime in the future it'll be meant for you. Who knows? The Creator knows. Your soul knows. Now, the information that did resonate with you, yeah, have a conversation with your spiritual team. Ask them how to best. What's my next best step? How can I best utilize this information? What part of that was meant for me? How do I do that? Show me, tell me. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. And sometimes we just have fun with it too. Sometimes we just, because I was, Paul and I were coming back from Alaska on Saturday, and all kinds of signs, triple numbers, a lot of 55s, 5555, which is for me is ascension. Triple twos, which is the flow of energy is shifting, and it could mean what kind of energy, right? And so anyway, I was teasing Paul. I said, "Did you see that one truck?" Because we've been looking for a different truck to haul trailers with, and it was a diesel, double tires, and something that he's been looking for. And I said, maybe that's the subtle sign. Maybe because we haven't seen one in a while, right? We haven't seen one. So anyway, Jessica is saying, totally appropriate for me right now. Thank you, Neshi. Oh, you're so welcome, Jessica. I appreciate that too. And Amy saying, yes, diabetic. I have to go, unfortunately. Chiropractic appointment. Well, good for you. I haven't had one of those in a while either. I'm glad you joined us though, Amy. It's good to see you in the chat room. This week here at Star Nations, we have a full week of shows. It's so early in the week. Tonight, if you can find the time to join us, Paul Krause has his show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, and his guest, Frances Robbins, I like her a lot. They're going to be talking about how do you stay sane in such a crazy world. And the thing is that they're both expats. Okay, so Paul lives in Kyoto, Japan, and Francis, they travel quite a bit. I think the last place they were at was in Thailand, and so they have the information and energy where they're coming from is different than those of us who live full time here on Turtle Island in the United States. And so, yeah, they're really, really good energy, those two. And so you can watch that show 8 p.m. Eastern from Paul's fan page, which is the Paul Krause Show. And if you just kind of scroll through the main fan page here, you'll see their promotions. And the second show tonight is Julie Hedges, The Tarot Journey. And Julie is talking about meta. And she also does Monday Meta. And so she's going to be sharing her views of meta and what it means. And it's going to be a good show. Because the prayer, the meta prayer, really touches your heart. And so she's going to be sharing about that. And hopefully she'll sing for us too. She has a beautiful voice. And her show is at 9 Eastern. The Tarot Journey with Julie Hedges. And then tomorrow, starting at noon Eastern, is Chakra Sessions with Polly Jo LeBay. And she's going to be talking about our spiritual team on Tuesday and helping us to be more connected to our teams. And every show, Tuesdays especially, is more like a mini class. She talks about a specific chakra and will lead a healing meditation for the second half of the show. And if you haven't experienced one of her meditations, yeah, Tuesday noon might be a good one for you. And then Tuesday night is my show, Communications from Home, and we're going to be talking about the drum. Now, I haven't done one of those shows in quite a while, and the reason why I even selected that topic is because of that TV I was telling you guys about when we first started the live stream. I was looking at videos, and I had gotten done with watching a couple of Polly Joes, and I was scrolling through my YouTube channel, and I found an old video that I'm going to share with you guys about a drum making class that was 6 years ago in Hastings, Michigan. And yeah, I think I'm going to share that with you. And then that's the topic for my show on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's Communications from Home. We're going to be talking about the drum. Yay. And Wednesday, Polly Jo is back at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's Soul Connections. And for those healers in the chat room, if you haven't taken the time to take care of you and do your own healing, Wednesday is a good night to do that, because Polly Jo channels the meditation for us and holds the sacred space for us so that we can connect to our own spiritual teams and do our own healing, to work with our teams. And so if you have something that you've been working on and haven't had a chance, carve the time out for yourself to sit down with your team and to work on that, Wednesday night's a good night to do that. And she also does card draws for everybody. And everybody wants a card because they're good. And she does a mini reading for you then. So that's kind of a full week of shows. It's going to be a good week. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day, your Monday, and we'll see you back here for tomorrow's card draw for the energy of the day. And Mary Anderson Fry just joined us. Mary, we're just finishing up. Did I put the card away? No, I didn't. Just for Mary's sake there. It's the Vision Quest is the card we got. And it's Seeking and Finding. So I'm so glad that Facebook renders these videos really, really quickly. And so the recorded show will be available like within minutes. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Watch how the energy flows to you, how it unfolds the day. So we'll see you back here tomorrow for tomorrow's card draw. Bama Mina, Potawatomi for until we see each other again.